Now on BBC One Scotland, the lunchtime news with Lauren Taylor.
Good afternoon. The Chancellor, Rachel Reeves, has defended her visit to China today, saying it's squarely in our national interest to deliver growth and that agreements reached in Beijing would be worth £600 million to the UK over the next 5 years. Her trip has been overshadowed by a 16-year high in UK borrowing costs and a fall in the value of the pound, with some Conservatives saying she's fled to Beijing. Our China correspondent Laura Bicker reports.
She may be here to do business.
Oh my goodness, it's so low, isn't it?
But she's facing criticism. She's fleeing heavy economic burdens at home. At the British-made Brompton bike shop in Beijing, she defended her visit.
Growth is the #1 mission of this government, to make our country better off. And that's why I'm in China, to unlock tangible benefits for British businesses exporting and trading around the world.
This is a major relationship reset. The first meeting between a UK Chancellor and her Chinese counterpart in 7 years. China's economy is too tantalising to turn down amid the UK's economic woes. The US and the EU have imposed huge tariffs on these electric vehicles, but the UK has not. It will please Beijing if London does not follow Donald Trump's lead. But the Chancellor will know there are risks that come with this new partnership.
Rachel Reeves keeps using the word pragmatic. What she says she's trying to do is to balance the UK's economic needs with its security concerns. But that brings up some serious issues, because China will bristle at the mention of any human rights concerns, at the mention of allegations that it's supporting Russia's war in Ukraine and allegations that it's spying in the UK.
It seems the meetings went well.
The total value of what we have agreed today is worth £600 million over the next 5 years for the UK economy.
The UK imports more than twice as many goods from China than it sends here. This relationship is not one of economic equals. But the Chancellor for now is betting on Beijing in the hope it will eventually make Britain better off. Laura Bicker, BBC News, Beijing.
Our business correspondent Mark Ashdown joins us now. And Mark, this visit has been overshadowed by growing concerns about the UK economy back home, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has. It's all about borrowing costs. Governments generally spend more than they take in taxes, so they have to fill that gap by borrowing money, issuing bonds or IOUs, if you like, to investors. And the yield or the interest they pay on that is crucial. The higher it goes, the less confidence investors have in an economy. And right now, the UK government's having to pay a 16-year high to borrow money. And I know you might be thinking this as echoes of the Liz Truss mini budget from a few years back, but it is worth pointing out this is a global issue. Governments everywhere are having to pay more money to borrow. There are concerns over Donald Trump. How will his policies land? But also domestically here in the UK, certainly still concerns over the budget policies. How will they affect businesses and households? And also, how will the government deliver its main priority to get growth going? That is why Rachel Reeves is in China, to talk up her plans. Instead, she's having to calm some nerves, reassure the money markets her plan can work.
Mark Ashdown, thanks very much indeed. To Los Angeles now, where 6 wildfires are still burning across the city. An evacuation order has expanded for the largest Palisades fire as flames approach the suburb of Brentwood, where the US Vice President Kamala Harris has a home. California's governor has called for an independent investigation into how critical fire hydrants ran out of water. And local authorities have declared a health emergency due to poor air quality as smoke and ash blanket the area. Well, these are the 6 fires still burning around the city. And although firefighters have been making some progress, the Palisades fire is only 8% under control. Our correspondent Peter Bowes joins us now from Los Angeles. Peter, what's the latest?
Well, the 2 biggest fires are still burning, mostly out of control in Pacific Palisades. That was the first blaze to start back on Tuesday. It is, as you say, spreading into, or at least towards, other neighbourhoods, Brentwood and the San Fernando Valley, both densely populated. The air quality across Greater Los Angeles is still bad. It's very smoky, so much so that officials have declared a health emergency. And yes, the political repercussions are starting. The governor of California asking for an investigation into why fire hydrants in some areas ran out of water during the early critical stages of this disaster that is continuing to unfold right across greater Los Angeles. And the office of the mayor in Los Angeles has had to deny that the city's fire chief has been sacked. The fire chief has been criticizing the mayor's office for a lack of resources and staff cuts, which may have hindered their operation over the last few days.
Peter Bowes, thank you very much. The wildfires have destroyed at least 10,000 homes and buildings. Our correspondent Helena Humphrey has been speaking to one family who lost their home in the Altadena fire.
They got out. That's what matters most. Amid the ash and ruin, a hug from Dad promises everything will be all right, even if this family doesn't yet know how. When the fires tore through Altadena in the dead of night, Daisy and Keith bundled their young children into the back of the car. They had no official warning.
I'm waiting to get some sort of urgency that we got to leave because it's getting more dangerous, but we didn't get anything. It was just my gut feeling that said we have to go. It was 1:30 in the morning, and when I saw more flame going up, I said we have to get out.
Like so many here, all this family has left is each other. The dream home they worked day and night for, gone in an instant.
It moved so quickly. It was, on a distant ridge 1 minute, and then 10 minutes later, it was right on top of us. It was crazy how fast it moved.
For now, authorities are focused on the immediate crisis. California Governor Gavin Newsom is calling for an independent investigation into reported water shortages that hampered firefighters' efforts. And with the hardest hit areas still burning, President Biden has warned that things could get worse before they get better.
There's still a lot of people who are unaccounted for. We don't know where they are. I think this toll is likely to go up, whether it's significant or not. Pray God it's not, but it could be.
The Duke and Duchess of Sussex have visited a fire relief centre where they met first responders and those impacted by the fires. For families like Daisy and Keith's, all they can do is cling on to each other, looking for a glimmer of hope through the lingering smoke. Helena Humphrey, BBC News, Los Angeles.
One of the lynx found near Canusi yesterday has died. The wildcat was one of 4 released illegally in recent days. All have since been caught. The Royal Zoological Society of Scotland says the animal was found alive but died overnight, and they're reasonably confident there are no other lynx on the loose in the area. Police searching for 2 women reported missing in Aberdeen are searching the coast at New Harbour. 32-year-old sisters Henrietta and Eliza Hushti were last seen in Aberdeen city centre at around 2 a.m. on Tuesday. Divers have already searched part of the River Dee near to where they were last seen. Caroline Darian, whose father was jailed for repeatedly drugging and raping his former wife, Gisèle Pellicot, and for recruiting other men to abuse her, says she hopes he dies in prison. Dominique Pellicot was also found guilty of taking indecent images of Ms. Darian, who called her father a dangerous man. She's spoken to the BBC in her first broadcast interview since the verdict, and a warning you may find some details in Anna Collison's report distressing.
I don't really remember the father that I thought he was. I look straight to the criminal, to the sexual criminal he is.
Caroline Darian's life changed forever in November 2020. She discovered her father, Dominique Pellicot, had repeatedly drugged and raped her mother and encouraged dozens of other men to abuse her too. She's been speaking to the BBC's Emma Barnett.
I was so close from my father. You can't, imagine how hurts it is. It was a nightmare.
That nightmare became even darker when police told Caroline they'd found semi-naked pictures of her on her father's laptop.
And I was shown 2 pictures of me, totally unconscious, with a pants which is not mine. So, I was in shock.
At the trial, she hoped her father would admit he'd sexually abused her, but he's always denied it.
I'm convinced that he raped me, yes. The only difference between my mom and me, I don't have any evidence like she did.
Giselle Pellico has been hailed as a feminist icon, while her ex-husband and dozens of other men are in prison. Caroline says the public needs protecting from the man she no longer calls dad.
He should die in prison. He is dangerous, man. He is dangerous. I don't want to think that I'm Dominique's daughter. I want to be proud of the rest of our family. I think we all have a responsibility to speak up.
Anna Collinson reporting there, and you can watch the full interview, Pellico Trial, the daughter's story, on Monday at 7 p.m. on BBC Two or on the iPlayer. If you've been affected by some of the issues raised in this film, details of help and support are available at bbc.co.uk/action line. David Moyes has made a return to Goodison Park as Everton's next manager. Moyes left the club 12 years ago after more than a decade at the helm to take over from Sir Alex Ferguson at Manchester United. He's since had 2 spells at West Ham, which included winning the Europa Conference League in 2023, but has been out of work since leaving the Hammers at the end of last season. And the UK has experienced the coldest January night for 15 years. Temperatures dropped to minus 18.7 Celsius in Altnahara in the Highlands last night. Much of the UK is facing conditions well below freezing, with warnings to monitor pets and keep babies and young children well dressed outside. That's all from me, but there's plenty more on the BBC News website. The next news on BBC One is at 5:10. Bye for now.